Good afternoon, gentlemen and lady. So first of all, thank you for being in REVA to impart your knowledge to students. So as you can see, there are very interested minds here to know about entrepreneurship. They might have heard, they might have not heard, they might know that there's an option like this, they might not know. So this conversation will be about enlightening them and just giving them a glimpse of what is to come and what mindset they should have in navigating this path. So my question first goes to Puran Singh sir. So you have been very instrumental in IIT Mandi Catalyst, where you are nurturing young minds. Even though Himachal Pradesh is a remote area and IIT Mandi itself is remote area, and still we can see that good ideas and startups are coming up, right? So that means that the place or the location is not an issue where we can nurture minds and startups, right? So in Bangalore or anywhere else where incubation centers are set up or might be accelerators are set up. So the question is, how can one student leverage these centers to their maximum, and also how can incubators themselves utilize the funds that they have at their disposal, and how can they make use of the infrastructure or the facilities that for the betterment of the students who are interested in this.
Sure. Thanks, Ganesh, and thank you, Malti, for introducing all of us here. Good to see a lot of students coming to this session. Now, on your first question, I think the most important thing is, do the students even know what an incubator does, in my opinion? Last year, we did a survey of about 14,000 students across the country. Out of those who are thinking of a venture, who are at some early stage of their venture, only 1/4 of those have gone to an incubation center. So really the question is, do we know about the incubation center in our university? So a show of hand, do you know what is NEST at REVA? Yes, right, okay. Great. So maybe about half of those people know. So that's better than national average. So congratulations to you. About half of the people know what is NEST, what is the incubation center at REVA. So now the question of why should you care about an incubation center, right? How can a student leverage the incubation center on campus? See, if you have an idea to take that to the next level, right now it seems impossible to you. As a student building a venture, becoming an entrepreneur, you see Shark Tank, you see several other emerging companies which were startups a few years back. It can be intimidating, but it is the first step that you have to take. And then the incubation center is available to provide you support that you need to move from step 1 to step 2 to 3 to 100, and then becoming a unicorn at some point in time. And we have a living example here. Siddharth is here in the room. He was a third-year student at IIT Mandi. From one of the competitions in IIT Mandi, he starts thinking of an idea. And then his idea was born before the incubator was born in IIT Mandi. So the incubation center actually had Siddharth and his team as the first experimental guinea pigs is the right term, and that's how we built the incubator there. But for an entrepreneur, having an incubation center around you is going to help a lot, because you need a sounding board, you need someone to think with you. You do not have all the expertise that you need, but you have all the intent that it takes to become an entrepreneur. So you need support system around you. So that's my answer to the first question, Ganesh. Second is, how can incubator do all of this? I think for this audience, the first question should matter more. For incubation centers, we'll have separate discussions with Malti, and we will see how can we embody the best support system for the startups. But for students, it's a complete ecosystem that you get offered by the incubator. Back to you.
Thank you, sir. So students, since the hands were less, I think it's high time that you see what incubators are and explore what is available to you and move towards that direction, and maybe start a conversation in their groups as well. Just talk that these things are available and build awareness regarding that. So follow-up question on that. So let's say they have an idea and come to incubator. Now, what level of interaction should be there between the student and the incubator? Like, do they have to regularly set up meetings of sorts, or incubator should take that initiative, setting up interactions? So yeah.
So I think there are two levels to a student-initiated venture. First of all, you have a rough idea. It's like, okay, I want to become an entrepreneur and maybe something around this. And the first line that comes out of a young student's mind is, sir, I want to build an app. Right, right? How many of you want to build an application? Huh? Right, right. Raise your hand, nothing wrong in it. Absolutely. This is where it begins. It has to start somewhere. And then you go to the incubator and say, I want to build an app. And then they should ask why. Then you should answer the question, because I know computer science and everyone is building app and I need to have it on my CV so that when the recruiter comes, they see me as a good candidate. Right? And a follow-up question to that is, forget about job. That is 3 years from now, 2 years from now. Even to build your CV, even to build an app right now, why do you think people will use it? And then you go around thinking, okay, I didn't think of that. I was going to develop the app because I know how to build an app, or I want to learn how to build an app. Not because people would use it. Oh, people have to use it as well? So such revelations, user centricity is the first thing that we have to bring to our minds. Not because we can build something, people will start using it. People have a problem and your app will solve that problem. That is why you should build the app. Right? So an initial conversation with any innovator, with any aspiring entrepreneur has to be around why and who will use this, who has the problem. And then you get a better direction as to what you should build in the app that you want to build. You may end up building the app only, but why will then direct you towards building it in the right way.
True, very true. So just to add to that, I learned it the hard way personally that even though you are interested in learning to develop an app, but the end everything boils down to passion is there, but everything boils down to who is going to pay for it. Are you going to make money out of it, right? So business and money has to be one your prime motive, even though you are trying to do something socially good, let's say. But money making, you have to have that in mind, I guess. So next question to Sir Vishwanath sir. So regarding that, let's say the students have the idea now. They might know to build an app, or they might be interested in building their idea. Now, what is the right time for them to see that, okay, this is the path, entrepreneurship is the path that I'm going to pick? Is it soon after college, or like Siddharth sir has done during their college times, or after graduation, or let's say I work for 1 or 2 years and then maybe get some experience into? How can they decide that, okay, this is the point where let me put my full effort into this idea or side project, whatever I have?
Sure, great. So I became an entrepreneur after working for 16 years. Yeah, so I'm fairly late in that perspective with respect to the audience who's here. But yes, the corporate experience really helps you understand what kind of mindset is required in running a company. So you might work for a multinational, you might work for a small company, you might work for whoever it is, but you're able to figure out as to what the processes and systems are, and so that you're able to put that in place when you start a new company. Yeah, so I feel that yes, 1 or 2 years of work experience definitely benefits the thinking mindset that the people would have, or would refine the thinking mindset the people would have in bringing about the change. Like what Dr. Puran said, what is the problem that you're solving? So one of the things that we talk about is something called as product market fit. If you've not dealt with the problem during your work life, it's very tough to kind of actually find a solution. So yes, absolutely. So in the summary, yes, I think 2 or 3 years, you might have an idea, you are working on that idea, but at the same time, it's important for somebody to work in an environment which is already process driven to kind of bring that idea into life. That's my, yeah.
Nice. So I don't know if I didn't think that I'll come to this, but Siddharth sir, counterintuitive to this, you had started in third year. So how was that experience? Like, did you feel that these corporate experiences would have been helpful at some point? Maybe because entrepreneurship is a journey. Along the way, you learn certain things. Did you ever feel that if I had worked in a company, let's say, I would have been aware of this process and some things would have been streamlined from the beginning? Did you ever feel that, or do you think that corporate experience matters?
So, I mean, when I started, I did not have it, right? I did not have a corporate experience. So, we just thought, okay, there's this interesting problem. We are the right kind of people who are interested in it, who have the right skill set to solve it. And then we thought, okay, heck, let's just, give it a go, right? And, after that, I spent 4 years running the company. After that, I spent another few years, my company was sold after 4 years. So after that, I spent two years at the acquirer as an employee. And, I got more exposure to this corporate culture, right? So, I mean, ultimately, I feel it matters, but it also does not matter. I mean, if you're passionate enough about the idea, if you have the common sense understanding, like business is very simple, I feel. You have, let's say you have some problem. I solve some problem for you, right? You might quantify the value of solving that at 50 rupees, 100 rupees, 1,000, 5,000, whatever, right? So if I'm providing some value to you, I can charge you a percentage of that value, right? If I, for example, let's take a recruitment firm, right? Recruitment firms, they typically charge 1 month CTC to place someone. So, the value of a job is effectively like 12 months pay, right? You're at least getting that. But a recruitment firm will say, okay, the value that I'm providing you, is 12 months. You give me 1 month of pay, right? And that's a business by itself. So as long as something of value is being transferred from one entity to another, you have a business, you can do it anytime. Now, the processes that Vishwanath mentioned, those are very, very important because at the start, you're just like maybe 1person, 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, 5, and then you grow, right? Initially, it doesn't matter because, hey, you got a code, right? You got to build some prototype, you got to build it. After that, you got to get manufacturing. So when it's like a small group of people, it doesn't matter as much because you just got to execute and you got to do the things. After like 20 people, 40 people, 50 people, 100 and so on, as you grow, then you start saying, okay, you need to learn how to manage. You need to learn how to set processes, right? Processes can be like just simple HR processes, admin, finance process, okay, reimbursement has to be done, who's going to take care of it, right? Or manufacturing, development process. Like when we started development, it was very like, I would say just, we just built it, right? But now, we would do things in a much more organized manner. We use Jira, we use, the whole software development processes, PRDs, ERDs, and so much more, right? So processes can be evolved. You can always, I feel, work with people who have been there and been there 1 or 2 steps ahead of you, right? So when I was doing it, I always was in touch with, like, obviously, Catalyst, Dr. Puran. There was another person, Saurabh Mittal, who Catalyst had on our board and was advising us. He helped us a lot in defining and telling us, okay, this is what you need to worry about, this is what you don't. So having some people like that through this journey, who've seen it and who can advise you, that can also help with the processes, right? So yeah, but yeah, you do need some kind of advice, some kind of guidance to make sure you don't make as many mistakes, and you're just efficient during the whole process.
So it's like the business process can be both limiting and empowering depending on which stage of the startup that you leverage them. So if you're just a bunch of team putting together an idea and building that, implementing process, having let's say Jira ticketing could be limiting rather than just getting the task and then
See,
executing it.
let me come into this conversation. So excellent, Ganesh, on the spot thinking. Vishwanath says you have to work 2-3 years to start a venture. Siddharth says it matters, but it doesn't matter. This is where incubator comes in. The advantage, the advantage that you people have, those who raised your hands, right? You want to build an app right now, a product right now, whatever, right? You have an idea. Such ideas reduce in number when you have worked for 4 or 5 years, because you were in a process. That's important. But the edge that you have today is the innovation, the out of the box thinking, challenging the realities today. Once you are in an organization, in a company, you get trained to think in a different, in single direction. So that's the challenge. The missing part of, how does a company work? That can be compensated by the incubator, by bringing in experts, by bringing in senior people. So they can be your friend, philosopher, guide, the way we say it, and they can provide you real world advice while you use your innovative mind, which is the core strength that you have.
Just to add what he said, I mean, the mentorship is what replaces not exactly replaces, but actually acts as a little bit of a substitute in helping you get that corporate, overview. Yeah. So the mentorship, like he was talking about Mr. Mittal or, whoever. So as a mentor, the incubator has the edge in providing the students the ability to bridge all these gaps. That's something that is very, very critical. So either you have the mentorship or you have the corporate experience. So I mean, both of it is great. But what I'm trying to say is that if not, I mean, like Siddharth's example, he was fresh out of college and he did something, which is absolutely fine. He had a solid idea. The problem-solving capability was already there, but he also had great mentorship. Yeah, so that's why, and through the incubator, that's what changed the equation.
Correction, not fresh out of college. He was in third year.
Okay.
He looked just like you. All right, messy hair, shorts, and chappals and everything. Siddharth, sorry. Today he's suited and booted because he's CEO of a startup and exited that. He has a lot of money to spend. Okay, but he looked exactly like many of you. All right, and we at that time wouldn't have imagined that he is going to become CEO of a startup, and then there'll be a US based company which would acquire them, and he'll be in Bangalore and we'll meet here. No. So, please click a picture in this room so that 5 years later, when you have your Siddharth Gangal, you can point it to this very moment. Okay, maybe this will inspire some people. Back to you.
I think Catalyst has a lot of pictures, embarrassing pictures of me.
Yes, we have pictures where they are, sleeping on the ground in the incubator, pizza boxes here and there.
So yeah, let's double click on that. Can you tell me a bit more of how a young entrepreneur's journey in your IIT Mandi Catalyst looks like? How do they spend their
A
typical
random
day?
email comes, or a knock on the door, or a message on the phone. Sir, I have an idea. And I try to never say no and say, let's meet today, right now, as soon as possible, so that this idea in a youngster's mind does not fade away. Okay, they don't feel discouraged. So typically, this is how it starts. One meeting, of course, they're all over the place. You have to ask them, okay, why do you want to build the app? The conversation that I earlier mentioned. And then, so there are two kinds of people. One is those who I get into a classroom and say, I will teach you entrepreneurship. And second, who chase me saying, sir, I'm doing something, can you give me some time? Both clubs are okay, doing okay. I find the second club to be leveraging an incubator's time more and more. These students in early days are very ambitious. They have a lot of amazing ideas. We try to not discourage them, but try to set in some realities into place, saying this can be done, we can do this, can you think in this direction? They think like, everyone is my customer, I can do 100 things at the same time, and we have to bring in focus, sharpness, one problem, one customer segment at a time, one feature at a time. Let's build it small. How much can we do in a week, in a month? And then we will think big on the way, right? Contingently sort of building the venture. And then, yeah, there are all these conversations where, sir, I'm not getting an approval from the dean to do this, to do that. Can I get a desk in the room? Can we get can we get to open one of the rooms because guard is not allowing it, it is 9 p.m., right? So all those crazy things. And chief minister is coming, can I get a stall? Can I get a table? They're not allowing me. So they come complaining and we keep on solving their problems. This is a typical journey, all right? Till they graduate to become a much more sort of experienced person where they understand and then they stop bringing those challenges to us. Then they start solving it themselves. And in fact, at a stage where they start giving back to us, advising us as to how should we run the incubation center. A reverse mentoring starts happening. Yeah, I found several ideas with our startups. I've discussed with Siddharth as well. At one point, we thought we should have one of our startups on our board of the incubation center to tell us how do we become more startup friendly. Yeah. Sorry.
That's interesting.
This panel has been one-sided.
Muralidhar sir, one quick question to you, and then I'll jump back to Siddharth sir for a quick drawback. So now the question is, how do a young student identify a niche and an opportunity among the endless ideas that are there out there, right? Because whenever anybody gets an idea, they feel that this is it. I shouldn't tell anybody. If I tell anybody, they might steal it, and they have this illusion bubble that they have made up. Okay, everybody I see or everybody I think of is my customer, and there is an opportunity. So how do we burst that bubble and niche it down to a particular problem statement or a solid opportunity that they can utilize?
Yep. So I think that's an interesting question. First of all, I'm that kind of entrepreneur or maybe innovator who likes to share the idea openly to as many people as possible, because the moment you shy away from sharing your ideas, it will never become big. The more you share, the more you talk about it, you will work also towards it. And I think that's what kind of takes your journey forward, right? The more you share, the better, right? So, and you get the right kind of people, and the initial stage of the idea, it's all about you are selling the vision to the people so that they can join you and be part of this journey, right? Coming to finding the niche, and I know why you're asking me, because I'm in the niche segment a little bit, building something like a revolutionary smart yoga mat. A lot of buzzword about Gen AI, but we are a Zen AI startup, bringing Zen with AI. So I think the main thing, what I believe is, a lot of, maybe this is my thought process. I don't know if it is right or wrong, but what I believe is like, as Indian entrepreneurs or Indian, the people who are going to start companies, I think you should solve for the problem, maybe from India even to the globe. So this is something that I started thinking about, okay, not solving only for India, but also solving for the world. And within that, I found that, okay, what is that area which is very important? And I have this theory that health and environmental health, human health and environmental health, are like equalizers in today's world. It doesn't matter whether you are rich, poor, or where you are. If your health is not good, you cannot do anything. And environmental health also has a societal impact, right? So we have seen that in the, Delhi recently, air quality going so bad, right? So things like that. So the point is, I think these are the two things. And go after a problem which is growing very big, okay? And then solve in a way that which is not the same as a lot of other people are doing. Like, for example, in my case, maybe I could have started with an app. But there's a lot of yoga apps, and there's so many people who are already building apps and content and all. Then I was looking at white space. That's a word that we use in the invention world. White space is the place where, okay, there's a problem, and there are different people trying to solve this, but there's some space which nobody even ventured into. And like say, you're looking at a problem And the solution can be niche. Problem need not be niche, right? Problem should not be niche also, by the way. Problem should not be niche. Solution can be niche, where you are approaching this problem in a different way. And going back to this point, like, okay, India should not be always be thinking like, okay, I should do something that Western countries are trying. Like, say something in US Silicon Valley, something is successful, let me replicate it here. That's not the way it should be, right? It should be the other way. Can we do something which is not there? And can we be the pioneers in that segment? And the solution is the niche part. It can be different from everybody else.
Just to add to the background context, sir has a startup where they produce smart yoga mats.
Yeah,
right, sir?
there's one
So
here.
it can analyze your posture, give recommendation, and overall how you can develop your asanas for your well-being. So it's a smart yoga mat. The thing is, sir is targeting US market. So in India, people might not prefer, but thinking that it is a trend, they are Christianizing yoga as a whole, and they're too much getting into yoga as a part of lifestyle. So I think this fits perfectly for that market. And thinking outside the box, that is, India is there, but there might be some opportunities that somewhat relevant to India, but has the potential to make money outside of India.
And India is following US now.
Interesting. Nice.
Just to mention, the mat that Murli has was gifted to the entire cabinet of ministers earlier this year. This was on Yoga Day. In June 2024, entire cabinet was presented with this mat by the Department of Science and Technology. We have the mat here. Towards the end of the session, we can have a demonstration, play a video or something. Yeah.
That is great. So now coming back to this, kind of similar to you, Siddharth, and then we'll move there. Now you had the support of incubator. Puran sir was there. You had your peers as well to guide you. But then, what was that one lesson that you learned that hit you in the face, even though you had all this, support as a first-time entrepreneur? That is.
I'd say the biggest one is people just don't want to pay, People just don't want to pay money. So you gotta deliver a lot more value in your product or service than what you thought you needed to, and it's very hard to get people to pay.
True. I don't have anything to add to that. That's just that period. People are very hesitant to. Yes, please.
So one of the other things that's there, of course, as an incubator, something that we found is the camaraderie and support that we get. It's supreme. So, for example, we at Arnetta handed out a project to IIT Mandi, to the technology team. I mean, to the graduates in the BTech graduation, program, to build us an app or to help us refine our machine learning, algorithm. And they did that very well. So that's something that the incubator can't replace with a how do I put it, an external funding agency. So that incubator, especially a technology business incubator, which is academic focused, can give you that value add.
That's interesting. My next question to Arvind sir. Let's say we have identified the niche, we have the problem statement, we see the opportunity. Now when we think of the product, we have lots of ideas about what the feature should be. It should look like this, look like that, a number of features. Now, but the users, we cannot give all those to users because they'll be obviously confused. Now, how do we trim down and fine tune to the core of the product of what sells, eliminating all the unnecessary things? How do we get to that point? What mindset should a student or first-time entrepreneur should have?
I think you're so right that many ideas will be coming to you once you have some product idea which has been validated, vetted by people from different verticals. When I did interviews outside the school to the parents, grandparents, why don't you carry the second helmet for your kid? मैं पास में ही रहता हूँ. I live very nearby. I don't need it. From the route which I come, there's no policeman. You know what? I forgot. I rushed from home. I was not even planning to come. My wife called me and asked me to pick up the kid. So I'm not having the second helmet. But are you sure you really didn't want the second helmet? No, I always wanted to have it. So basically what I found is when you do the interviews with different people across society, delivery boys, professionals who travel together, your idea starts having a ripple effect or starts having the ball getting bigger slowly and slowly. But there is one thing which you have to keep in mind. My core idea need not move from where it started, because that is where I wanted to start or initiate my industry. So my idea, 2-in-1, because it came into being, was one-liner, which came as my problem statement. Remembering, carrying, maintaining, retaining. One helmet is a hassle. 2 helmets is a pain. How many of you agree with this? Right? So anybody who is having a two-wheeler has this problem. How many people have thought about it? Till today, no one. So we created one helmet which is 2-in-1. That was the initial idea. We were incubated with NASCOM COE IoT, and they said we can incubate you, and we really want to, but do you have some electronics? I said, yes, in the back pocket. Can you put it in your presentation now? I said, why? Because otherwise we won't be able to incubate you. I said, okay. So the first thing what we had was, if you're not wearing the chin strap properly or not wearing at all, you'll keep on hearing the beep. That is a safety feature which is required. And we know how we wear a helmet carelessly, just like a hat, especially for the pillion. He or she is given a plastic hat because we are losing that helmet, which is equally pricey, without being in use. The nature harsh realities keep on touching it. Sun rays, moisture, pollution, a stagnant water being thrown onto your helmet. The inside of the helmet is gone. Is it going to protect you? I don't think so. So second idea was intra-helmet communication. Rider has to look behind to listen to or to talk to. You want to get the scolding from your wife, now have it properly. Right? So you don't have to now look around. So second was intra-helmet communication. Connectivity to mobile, which is required. And I wanted to stay away from the app as of now because I wanted to focus on 2-in-1, which itself was a big thing to be brought into world. Nobody had thought it. I created my own sketches, not satisfied. I hired a contractor for only 5,000 rupees for the tenure till he makes something which I am satisfied with. He's a SolidWorks guy, partially satisfied. I went to the market, brought clay dough. You know how clay dough works? Different colors, clay, you can start molding it with hand. My kid started telling my wife, Mommy, dad is gone. We must show him to a psychiatrist. He's sitting on the study table and keep on doing something with clay dough. And in 2 years, no, this is 3 years now, we have created POC, prototype, MVP, 75% tooling done, and we have our world's first patented 2-in-1 helmet in our hand, which gets fitted in this box. This has got 2 helmets. And this is equivalent to your boot. Or you're carrying 1 helmet otherwise, but actually now you're carrying 2. So your co-rider or your loved one is also having a equally certified helmet always available with you. And hence you are being saved from the challan, you are being saved from accidental, unfortunate fatality or getting somebody maimed who is sitting behind. And it is most of the time person at the back who is at the receiving end. You'll be surprised to know we made it for 2-wheelers. We have 14 plus domains identified from where use cases have come our way. Pharma industry, chemical, oil, engineering, heavy engineering, any factory where noise decibel levels are very high. We have got a requirement from Middle East, we have got a requirement from USA now. And this is how the guy who wants it in USA, he wants approximately 8 more features embedded into the helmet. A camera with 5G connectivity, a torch, etc., etc., etc. A lot of things are coming. So, you know, idea is still the same. We don't want to diverge from that. 2-in-1 is our USP, unique selling point, and we want to continue with that first. You want something else? We are R&D company, we are sales and marketing company, we'll work on it, we'll give it to you. You want a product with diversification, you pay us, you get the product made for you, and then it will be manufactured. So this is how the roll-on top of the idea is happening, and it is happening for the last 5 years. And we have reached a stage where we have got a back pocket which is now getting full. But definitely we want more ideas, more features which should be embedded into the helmet for added comfort, added convenience, added safety for the users, for whichever use they want to put it to use.
Yes, sir. That's very interesting. Like when I first thought of the smart helmet, the only picture that I had in my mind is bike riders wearing two helmets which are in sync. But now that the last point that you added, where lots of other custom orders are coming up, that opens up a whole new world of opportunities where you start thinking wherever helmets can be used, smart helmets can be used, right? With those cameras, torches attached, and now that AI is coming up, instant analysis, people going into construction, all those things, a lot of that's really interesting. Nice, thank you, sir.
Exactly. If you know, our police marshals in Bangalore, they are wearing a body camera, they are having helmet or helmets if they are two, am I right? And then they are having a communication device. Here you are having one device, everything is embedded inside. Then you can have a 5G connectivity with the camera, which can record in the server, so that you don't need to carry a body camera. What are other use cases? CBI, NHAI, wherever they are going and doing some analysis or doing raids, the helmets can be put to use there also, because now the recording is also happening in the server, which can be later analyzed. Oil rigs, especially in the seas, where winds are very high velocity, are having very high velocity. There is a lot of noise because of waves. The people who are on the oil rigs, they need to keep themselves safe. Communication has to continue all the time, and their hands should be holding onto the railings along with the other device what they're having. So these kind of use cases have come our way, and we are very surprised that people are looking forward for this device to come out ASAP as much as possible, and that is what we are trying to do now.
So Ganesh, one of the things that I want to underscore here for the students is, in the beginning we may think, oh, this is too small an idea, just one idea, right? However, if you start talking to the prospective consumer, user, they will give you more ideas. How about this? Not this problem, but I have this problem. Can you build this feature? And that's how you co-create this solution, but you have to take the first step. Don't think your ideas are, there are 100 people, 90 people don't even start because they think, oh, this is too small an idea. I don't know where I will get. I have no background in this. I don't know how to do this. The remaining 10 who start, they are thinking the same thing. The only difference is they start anyways, right? And those 10 people go out in the market, get more ideas from the people who have the problem, and then change a little bit into their problem statement and build the solution.
I just want to add here. I think it's very well put to here by Dr. Puran also, because sometimes the more you share with the idea gets more concrete and the solution becomes more irrelevant. So I built a smart yoga mat, and there is a sensors which is a patented sensor fabric. We built it such a way that it can be flexible, so that you can roll the mat, take it wherever you want. The idea was to not change the user experience, but have technology. Surprisingly, what happened is, like him, I'm getting requests now. Can this mat be used for hospital beds, for the bed sore? Can this be used for chair to check the posture? Can this be used for badminton courts, for in-out calls? Endless use cases are coming. That's what happens.
So the framework here could be that get the idea, put it out, and let your users refine the audience or the users, let them refine.
Yeah,
it for you.
and if your idea is not having some more ideas coming in, do you really think your product is scalable? And scalability can be in two ways. This product is required in India, yes, we know that. Is it required somewhere else also? 60 plus countries are there where we have more than 500,000 two-wheelers used for common commute, not for fun biking. not for adventure. 32 plus countries are those which have got comprehensive laws. Rider pillion must wear a helmet. Do we think they don't have this problem there? They also have. I have got a use case coming from Germany. One of the ladies who picks up a rental scooter every day with her boyfriend. She's carrying one helmet. She opens the QR of the scooter, opens the boot. The timing has started. There is no helmet. Now they can't go. Second scooter, same. Third scooter, same. They get the helmet second in the sixth scooter. When she saw this, she said, Arvind, the moment you have started production, I want this helmet to be delivered to me. I don't want to open the boot and waste my money on going through, scanning through 6 scooters till I get my scooter where a second helmet is existing. Right? I'm carrying already one. Now I'm carrying 2 in 1. I'm done. Right? So again, another idea.
Just one thing I want to point out, right? Like, he had such a good analysis of the whole market, not just India, but the other 50 countries, and what the policies are in all of them, and where you could go to first, right, and make the first money and then grow from there. So that's like another good trait, which is like attention to details, where you have an idea, but you really drill down, talk to hundreds of people who might be prospective customers, and then have attention to details, do online research, and do it that way. So that's like really nice.
Siddharth, there is a reason for it. I spent 3+ decades in IT, only in data. I started my career when even DBase was not there. I learned my programming on card punching machines, but I'm just 26-year-old, okay? So I learned my programming on basic Fortran COBOL, moved on to DCM machines, moved on to BBC Microns, moved on to TDC 316, which was a big computer for us. And then we moved on to micros and then PCs and 286, 386, and then whatnot. But data was always with me. And I went through the various stages of maturity, staying close to data. And that's the reason I'm able to do the analysis, and keep that analysis ready with me, the data.
So Anusha ma'am, last question for you, but I feel this is the very important that students should know. Now, let's say you have the incubator support, you have identified the opportunity, you have fine-tuned the idea or the core problem or how your product should look like. Now, the question is, how do we rapidly prototype and productize what we have prototyped? So how do we not fall into the trap of building all the features that we've identified so that we are rapidly prototyping? Again, how do we rapidly prototype the idea and then bring that prototype to product level?
Yeah, thanks Ganesh for this question. And before I move on to answering that, I really thank Dr. Puran and Malti from REVA to give us an opportunity to share what we have learned so far. So I run a hardware startup where prototyping is extremely important. And to also mind you, even while doing the prototype, every iteration that you do, it's an iterative process, and each iteration takes a lot of effort. There's a lot of learning, a lot of mistakes, a lot of money as well. So when you have identified, I also say that, I was just listening to all the questions and answers that was happening. For me, incubation, especially for students, is so important, because at this stage, when you have your ideas refined, to take the next step, being a first-time entrepreneur. So by the way, I am not from an electronics background. I run a startup which is an IoT. Okay, so it takes a lot of learning, and the kind of support the incubation gives in terms of mentoring, in terms of identifying, the amount of money you will need to build that first prototype from the concept on the paper. That's really incredible, and that's how an incubation like Catalyst has helped me, do that prototyping. So as a student, of course, you have the leverage of meeting different people. You have your own campus where you can build your prototype. You don't have to go elsewhere. That's one advantage of you building any prototype while you are a student. You don't have to go asking people for 3D printing. You already have 3D printing facility there. Right? So making use of those technologies which can quickly give you whatever is in your mind. Right? In hardware especially, it's very, very tough to bring out what's running in your mind. on the, as you can hold on your in your hand and show it to people. So the way we built was literally hand wiring things. It was a very ugly model. I don't know if Puran remembers the first picture we had shown of Varidos. So it will look ugly. It doesn't have to be pleasing to anybody as long as it functions. That's how you start your first prototype. You don't have to make it, and especially adding all the features that you are thinking of. When Ganesh, you asked the question about how do you drill down, all the features. You want to add camera, you want to add AI, you want to add everything into it. But that's not how it works. You can add AI only when you have the data, right? And you can have the camera only when it starts working, the basic principle. So drill it down to the smallest level possible. And that's why you need a mentor who can tell you that you have a really big idea, but drilling it down to smaller bits and picking those smaller bits and just prototyping that. And take that to somebody or talk to people. Never hesitate from talking to people. Like Murli quoted, your idea becomes only matured when you talk to people. Nobody is going to steal away. And one good learning I have, if somebody is copying your idea, it means that you have a bigger idea because somebody wants to copy it. Okay, so make sure that you talk to people about that.
Let me underscore that by, I'm a professor, so I have to build this into theory. We were talking about Siddharth, right? So let me put a structure to this. What Anusha said is, remember 3 letters, BML. Build, measure, and learn. You build whatever you can. It can be a mental model, a speech prepared, you built something. It can be a hand drawing, a hand sketch, you've built something. It can be a paper-based model, an origami, you have built something. It can be a cardboard-based prototype, you've built something. As soon as you build something, very quickly, don't waste any time, go to the prospective user. Build, and now show it to the user and measure the feedback. What are they saying about it? Do they like it? Do they not like it? Do they not like the color, the design, the feature? What do they want, right? Now build and now measure the feedback and then learn from it. How do you learn? You don't judge. You don't, so basically try to learn from whatever user has said and take that as an input into the next build, measure and learn loop. So you keep on doing this build, measure, learn from a mental model, from an idea to a hardware prototype. You continue to do the iteration of BML. The faster you iterate it, the more you will learn. And the truth, the really, the ultimate learning is in what customer tells you. You can think of whatever you want. The experts can tell you whatever they want. You can read 100 books. At the end of the day, the hardest thing is to get them to pay. They will pay if they say, yeah, this is what I want. So ask them what they want. So BML is the code to rapid prototyping, building a venture from day 1 to day N, wherever you are.
That's really a good 3-letter takeover, BML, build, measure, and learn. That's very true. Like even though Amazon or AWS is a very big, like one of the biggest companies, and Google as well, they do regular surveys to learn of how their users are interacting with their technology. So if that holds true for a companies like that, that definitely holds true for a startup to rapidly build, iterate, learn, measure.
So there's a saying that says, if you fail faster.
Yes.
Okay, and that's when okay, something you're doing is not working. Don't sit on that. Go to the next stage, build the next step, then start doing the next models that you want to do.
So that's very true.
In fact, in my class, I tell my students when I teach them entrepreneurship, and in the class they have to build a venture, and I tell them my objective is to make sure you fail. Not in the course. But whatever venture you're trying now, I hope you fail. But I hope you fail in next 1 week. Okay? And then I say, I hope the next venture you try, that also fails. That probably in 1 month. And then the third venture that you build is really going to be it. The sooner you fail, don't hold your ideas with you and then, not talk to others about it and then say somebody will copy it. You have to really come out with it, execute it, fail at it, and then learn. That is how also you can build the process orientation which you learn in corporate when you pick up a job. Fail quick, but fail small in such a way that it doesn't hamper you, doesn't shatter your confidence. You build something small, you failed, you can afford to lose it and start again, right? So
Interesting. So it feels like I could talk to like more than an hour or two again. But since we are on short of time, quickly I'll just summarize what you have said and then we can go for audience for a few questions. So the key takeaway or insight is build, measure and learn, fail fast, throw your idea to your core users and then let them fine tune it for you. Failure is a part of the path. Don't feel that you're not going to fail or failing is bad. In fact, failing fast is the key. So if you have strong signals that something is not working out, then please don't get attached to idea. Fail fast and move on to the next problem that you think is identifying.
Just
So
want
you-
to
one
add,
other thing,
fail
sorry.
fast. Just want to add one thing. Fail fast, but don't give up.
Okay. Just one other thing. I think in all this equation, I think incubator has a great role to play. That's one of the learnings that all of us have, kind of imbibed and understood. And the incubator with the right set of mentors adds a great value into the business. Idea to execution. All of that.
Awesome, truly. So, audience, I think you can ask a few questions if you have. Anyone? Yes. ma'am.
Yeah. Shall I ask? Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Dr. Veena KN, professor from School of ECE. I'm a faculty, and when I saw the poster that a faculty is an entrepreneur here sitting, I want to have your inputs, like how I can go ahead. I have few good ideas. I want to come up with my ideas and start and
you're a
become an
faculty and you want to become an entrepreneur?
Yes.
I think a huge round of applause. Thank you very much, first of all, for considering entrepreneurship as a career option. People ask me, sir, you teach entrepreneurship, why don't you become an entrepreneur? I think a very broad question, but I think the fact that you have raised it shows the intent that it is on high. Usually for faculty, we have a policy in the institution where faculty are encouraged to start a venture. It can be in terms of giving you a short leave, a long leave, or alongside you can spend some hours building your venture. Some resources definitely for faculty, and given the fact that you have your ECE, so engineering, you have labs, etc. You have your students also. You can pool all of those resources in. But institutions like to maintain some sort of transparency to segregate a for-profit venture from a non-profit educational institution, right? So some clarity is required there. But how do you start? I think the mantra remains the same: build, measure, and learn. For us as academics, taking the plunge into entrepreneurship is really hard. We are at a career stage, life stage where we have family with us. We have several other considerations. We have, have a peer group where we have to compare and say, okay, should I become an entrepreneur? What if I fail? You can keep on teaching others, but when it comes to me failing, no, it will be a bad thing for me. But congratulations on thinking about that. It remains the same: build, measure, learn. How fast can we execute the idea? Let's set examples. Let's do it, Dr. Veena. On the side, we can chat and see what specific questions you have and how I can answer those.
Hey, hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chesta, and I'm recently incubated in REVA Nest. And thank you for this opportunity today. My question is a bit of a tricky because I come from a corporate experience of 10 years, like Mr. Vishwanath mentioned. And I'm also part of three incubation already. I'm part of IMB. And also part of NASCOM. I recently got shortlisted from IIT Mandi as well. Unfortunately, I didn't take it up for certain reasons, but yeah. So my question is, how to choose the right mentor who can help you to, excel further? Or like most of the time, what happens is when I talk to a mentor, they go back to their own ideas and reflections of their thought, not listen to what I want to build and exceed, okay? So it's just like recently I got in touch with an very good product expert. I'm launching my product this month, so I wanted her pick a brain and say, how do I go about it? What's the GTM for that? So she asked me, what do you want to be? Do you want to be a social entrepreneur? Do you want to raise CSR funds, or what it is? I told her very clearly, I'm building something to make money. It's not for non-profit.
Can I ask you what your idea is, if you don't mind? I mean, if you
Yeah,
don't-
sure.
Yeah.
So this is my third startup, and the first one failed very badly.
Just tell me this idea.
I'm building a Gen AI-based platform for skill gap and upskilling recommendation.
For?
For job seekers.
For job
basically.
seekers?
Yeah.
In which area?
It's Gen AI-based.
Only in
platform.
Gen AI?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So my question is for all the jury members here, like, how do you choose the right mentor who help you to grow, not to sit back and rethink, is this something I'm doing right, or do I need to shut down, or how do I go about it? Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So I'll just take that before the others. So there are two parts to it. Sorry, I didn't get your name.
I'm Chesta. Chesta
Okay.
Nagalakshmi.
Okay. So there are two parts to it. One is the technology part. So you need a technology mentor and as well as a business mentor. So learn to demarcate. Learn is a very wrong word. Okay. Choose to demarcate. Choose to demarcate the mentor that you want to choose. Based on your business objectives. It's very, very important. Because you might need a technology mentor. You might have a strong CTO who's there already. You might be the technology expert, and you don't need that gyan. So get that out of the equation. You need a GTM expert. So focus on that. So when you choose a mentor, it's very, very critical that you choose the mentor based on the business objective that you're trying to achieve. In the period of time that you're committed to your investors, to your incubator, to whoever it is, or to yourself for that matter. So I think that's what I have learned, at least. I'm coming from an agri-tech background. We deal with AI, we deal with machine learning and all of that. But when we choose mentors, we absolutely use that thumb rule saying that, okay, is that mentor adding value in technology or in GTM? Now, if it's a GTM, I know that what markets that I'm after, and so whether can they help me open up a new market in the US or in Australia, for example, and or can they help me devise a new marketing strategy in India, for that matter. So be very, very clear as to what you're looking up to the mentor for. That will help the mentor also, in kind of equipping you that way. Yeah?
Sure.
Last question we have from
Thank you.
Actually, the mentor also depends on what stage of your journey is. Sometimes it may be product, sometimes maybe go to market business. And I'm actually a mentor and advisor to few startups. So I feel like, you're right. Mentors and advisors should not influence the founders with their own ideas, but founders should have more like, asking the mentors, right? So one idea, I could suggest you is, definitely use LinkedIn. It's a great source to find you can always, there are LinkedIn various tools are there. Various ways to search. Some of the profiles you may find it. As much as possible, look for somebody who can add value for a longer term rather than a short term.
I just want to quickly add on. So you said you are incubated at IMB, right? I'm just not just trying to measure or judge. I'm just giving you my sense, okay? So IMB a lot of the time deals with social entrepreneurship, okay? And you are there at NASCOM, which deals mostly with tech. You need somebody who has made money with your sales strategies. Then you also, one thing I would suggest also, you have not taken up IIT Mandi, I'm not influencing you, but you could try, because there are mentors who could, help you with, who themselves are being an entrepreneurs. They understand how the sales, how could you, navigate your sales channel so that you make money. You are just not there for social entrepreneurship, yeah? That's my few cents.
I'll put a structure around it. Siddharth?
I'd add one more thing. It seems like you didn't like the mentor, right? I think that's what it is. So I think on that front, right, it's like dating, right? You meet people, sometimes you know, you vibe with them, you're able to build a relationship. Sometimes you're not, right? If you're not, just move on. You're the Malik, you're the owner.
Thank you.
See, most of the time the problem is that the user doesn't know what they want. Okay? Likewise, the entrepreneurs don't know what do they want. There is just one word roaming around, which is mentor, and everyone has put it on their LinkedIn to say, I'm a mentor. Okay? You need to know as an entrepreneur, who are you looking for? There are different terminologies. Number one, there is somebody called a consultant. A consultant is a area expert, a technical expert who will give you your services. You need a connection, you need a launch in the market and so on. You pay them. Short-term engagement and you move over. Second is advisor. Again, advisor does not engage with you in implementation. They'll give you an advice and then they will leave. They're not responsible for the results. Again, you pay them. They are an area expert. Okay. Third is coach. A coach is someone who will ask you relevant questions. They may not be an expert in that area, in that strategy and so on, but they'll ask you questions to create a reflective space for you to figure out the answers for yourself. And finally, the fourth level is mentor, which embodies all of these three in some way or the other, but at a higher level, they engage with you as a person. Okay? As a person, meaning who are you, what do you need to answer for yourselves, and then for your venture. So I think this distinction needs to be made. The word mentor is misunderstood. Sometimes you don't like the mentor and mentor doesn't like you because you don't understand what you want. You probably want, a mentor in the sense that I said, the umbrella term, but they were more looking for a consulting assignment. And then you don't like their approach or they don't like your approach. So we need to understand these four words: consultant, advisor, coach, and a mentor, and that too for your venture versus for yourself. Okay? I leave it at that, but there are many layers to it.
Thank you.
Shall I?
Kabir, yeah.
Yeah. Hi everyone. My name is Mohammad Kabir and I am finally a student of mechanical engineering and I am a founder and CEO of CropNow. It's an agri-tech startup. So I'm running team of 30 members. Okay. So in initial stage, when I'm working on prototypes and researching and development, I think that I have to get funds for sustaining my team, developing my product. So when we are working on agri-tech, it is farmers, where government has made so many schemes for farmers, where farmers are ready to go wherever someone is giving free thing. So here it is very tough to make initial revenue or build a trust thing between farmers. So how can I do this in early stage?
So are you revenue positive right now?
Sir, we are in prototype stage.
You're in prototype. How do you have 30 people then?
Sir, students and some people who are working in industries.
Okay, I am surprised. I have a team of 3 people and I'm not able to handle it. So I'm like surprised.
Sir, there are 19 interns in my team.
Fair enough. Great. So B2C business in agri-tech is, like what you rightly pointed out, it's a challenge in India because it's a subsidy-driven, what we call as a subsidy-driven market. Agriculture is subsidy-driven. So farmers are used to free, freebies, whatever you may call it, with all due respect to them. But try to evolve into a B2B model. That's what we did. So we had a product called Pyxill Doctor, which was a crop disease detection app, and we moved that to a B2B model, and that's when we started realizing revenues out of it. So once you, because what happened, so for example, we did the same model for coffee board in Karnataka, in Chikmagalur, and farmer was not willing to pay 100 rupees a year. 100 rupees a year, that was the user fee. Okay, and they were not willing to pay that. Okay, but having said that, coffee board stepped in and said that, you know what, we will pick up that bill, and I was able to invoice coffee board as a government entity, which is a B2B model. So whatever is the offering, I do not know what exactly is your offering, but having said that, try to move into a B2B structure. It works better in developing markets like India. Developing markets more in terms of agriculture, nothing else. So anything in India, Southeast Asia, agriculture, structure it around B2B.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, Arvind, sir, out of interest, I have a small question. What is the power source for your helmet? It is a really good idea. अब उसको कैसे charge करते हो? And tell something about that, sir.
First of all, thank you. Charging के लिए we have got a very slim, small battery. And that battery keeps its charge for 7.5 hours per our analysis today. We want to bring it to 12 hours so our delivery boys can easily make use of this helmet while being on the phone and on the bike 12 to 13 hours during the time they work. So our battery is having 7.5 hours of working today.
Thank you. First of all, before winding up the program, Puran sir, thanks a lot for being with us, representing an incubation from IIT Mandi and getting your mentees here where our mentees can interact with them. And I take the privilege and I invite all of you on a board because I'm happy that you have introduced 5 startups who are from Bangalore, who are here. You will go back, but they are with us. So we expect and we take this opportunity to all of you to be part of our REVA Nest and mentor our students because as you rightly mentioned, this discussion can go another 1 hour because there are so many questions. When it comes as innovation, there are multiple dots, other n number of dots, they are still connecting that. So we need your support, taking this commitment from you all. So we will wind up this session. Thanks to Chancellor Sir, REVA management team, all the students assembled here. Thanks for your time.